Good morning, everyone. Today we're diving into one of the most critical and transformative concepts in modern cybersecurity, Zero Trust architecture, and specifically how it integrates and enhances a strong threat intelligence and defense program. In this era where perimeters are dissolving and breaches are inevitable, Zero Trust represents a necessary model shift. We'll cover what it is, its role in threat intelligence, the benefits and challenges of implementation, and key use cases. Here's a quick roadmap at what we'll cover today. We'll start with the definition of Zero Trust, move into the core principles, analyze its critical role in consuming and generating threat intelligence, and finally, we'll look at real-world applications. At its core, Zero Trust is a set of security principles founded on the saying, never trust, always verify. To understand the shift, consider the traditional model, the castle and moat. Once an entity is authenticated at the network edge, it was trusted totally inside the firewall. This led to the massive vulnerability of lateral movement, where an attacker compromises one device and freely moves throughout the network. Zero Trust is formalized by NIST, completely rejecting the embedded trust. It dictates that every user, every device, and every network connection must be verified and authorized before being granted access to any resource, regardless of whether they are inside or outside the traditional network perimeter. The identity of the user and the health of the device become the new security perimeter. Zero Trust is generally a guideline of three fundamental principles. Verify explicitly. This is the most crucial step. Access is never based on network location alone. The policy engine must use all available context. Who is the user? Is the device patched and compliant? What is the sensitivity of the data they're requesting? Where are they connecting from? This combines multi-factor authentication, or MFA, device posture assessment, and encryption validation. 2. Use least privilege. Access must be limited to the minimum necessary for the task. This involves fine-graining, just-in-time and just-enough access policies. Instead of granting the user access to the entire server, they might only get access to a single file share for 30 minutes, drastically limiting the blast radius if their account was compromised. 3. Assume breach. This means operating under the assumption that an attacker is already inside the network. This mindset drives critical actions into microsegmentation, dividing the network into small isolated zones, and ensures that all traffic is logged and inspected, even internal traffic, to quickly detect and contain threats. The role of Zero Trust in threat intelligence program is twofold. First, it is an essential consumer of TI. Zero Trust relies on a central policy engine that makes dynamic access decisions. This engine isn't static. It consumes real-time, high-fidelity threat intelligence feeds, which include indicators of compromise, or IOCs, like known malicious IPs, domains, and file hashes. For example, if a TI feed alerts us to a new phishing campaign targeting our industry, the Zero Trust policy engine can instantly adjust policy, denying access to any device attempting to connect from one of those flagged IP addresses, or blocking any application attempting to communicate with a known malicious C2 server. This integration allows the security posture to shift from being reactive to being adaptive, using timely intelligence to prevent access before any exploit can occur. The second and perhaps more powerful role is that Zero Trust generates superior intelligence. Because Zero Trust inspects and logs every single transaction, the user identity, the device health, the application accessed, and the file touched, it provides high-fidelity logs. In a traditional network, if we see irregular traffic, we only see an IP address. Using Zero Trust, we see that Karen Smith is using a non-company laptop attempting to access critical database outside of business hours. This is gold to threat intel analysts. This detailed log simplifies incident response by reducing noise and providing clear attribution. Since the network is already segmented, if a compromise occurs, the IT team can study the attacker's TTPS, tactics, techniques, and procedures within that contained segment, generate actionable intelligence that can then be fed back into the policy engine to harden defenses. Moving to the benefits, Zero Trust delivers significant advantages across the defense spectrum. Number 1, reduces attack surface. Zero Trust network access removes applications from the public internet entirely, hiding it behind the secure access broker. If an attacker can't see the server, they can't scan it or exploit its vulnerabilities. Number 2, improved compliance. Since every access request is explicitly verified and logged with rich context, Zero Trust naturally creates a perfect defensible audit trail. This makes satisfying strict regulatory requirements like GDPR, HIPAA, and PCI DSS far easier. And 3, breach containment. This is perhaps the most beneficial. Microsegmentation prevents lateral movement within the network. If a single endpoint is compromised, the attacker is boxed in, unable to move to the domain controller, financial servers, or any crucial infrastructure. While the benefits are clear, implementing Zero Trust is a journey with significant challenges. First challenge, legacy infrastructure. Many large companies, particularly those in manufacturing and healthcare, rely on older systems known as operational technology or legacy applications. These systems often don't support modern authentication protocols like SAML or OIDC. Integrating them requires complex wrapping and connector solutions, increasing complexity and cost. And 2, cultural resistance. This is often the biggest hurdle. Zero Trust changes how work is done. It takes power away from the network level administrators and requires granular policy settings. Engineers that are used to unrestricted access find just enough access frustrating. Successful deployment requires exclusive buy-ins and strong change management plan to communicate why this shift is necessary for collective security. Let's look at a few case use studies. Securing the modern remote workforce. The pandemic accelerated the use of traditional VPNs, which, as we know, essentially can be risky. The VPN extends the whole corporate network to a potentially unsecured home router or personal laptop. If that home device is compromised, the attacker has a foothold. Zero Trust network access is a successor. Instead of granting network access, it grants access only to the specific application requested. The connection is peer-to-peer and encrypted. The user connects to the Zero Trust network platform. The platform verifies the identity and device health, and then connects them to the requested SaaS application or internal web app. This provides a more secure and often faster user experience. Another critical case in defending against the epidemic of ransomware. Ransomware's primary strategy after initial infection is move laterally across the network and find and encrypt valuable data. Zero Trust directly disrupts this stage. First, by implementing microsegmentation, the initial breach victim is isolated. The ransomware cannot scan for other devices. Second, even if the malware steals the user's credentials, the Zero Trust policy engine is looking for behavioral incidents. Indicators. The typical user doesn't suddenly try to access 1,000 files across 50 different servers in 30 seconds. This behavior triggers a high-risk score, and the policy engine can automatically revoke the user's token or force re-authentication, and shutting down the attack before encryption begins. Finally, Zero Trust is essential for modern enterprises operating in multi-cloud environments like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, and on-premises. Managing siloed firewalls, access control lists, and security. Zero Trust provides a unified, identity-based control plane. The same set of access rules are constantly applied whether that financial data sits in an AWS S3, a local server, or an Azure SQL database. This drastically reduces the complexity of security operations and minimizes the risk of human error across distributed infrastructure. In summary, Zero Trust is not a single product, but a vital tool that shifts from defense mindset from trust by default to never trust. By integrating contextual data, including threat intelligence, and into every access decision, organizations can fundamentally reduce their attack surface and contain the inevitable breaches. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.